In today's video, we'll discuss why Kevin Durant should have never left Curry and the Golden State Warriors. But before we start, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Now, without further ado, let's get started. There's no secret that Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets are struggling and are in a desperate need for a fix-up. First, let's start with their offense. They're currently ranked 18th in points per game, and while it's not the worst, it's still awful given the fact that they were favorites to win it all this season for the third year in a row. And while they're average at putting up points as a whole, KD is still scoring at an MVP level. In the first 17 games, Durant is averaging 30 points per game while shooting 35% from 3 and 92% from the line. So yeah, it's safe to say he's more than pulling his own weight offensively. But for his teammates, it's a different story. Yes, when Kyrie is on the court, he's still elite, but he's already missed significant time due to the suspensions and other issues. Cam Thomas is the Nets' third best scorer on the roster, but the 21-year-old is years away from being a lethal scoring threat. As for Nets guard Royce O'Neal, he's never been a scorer. In fact, he only averages around 6 points per game for his career. He's more of a traditional 3-and-D player mainly used to shoot spot-up threes offensively. Seth Curry and Joe Harris are snipers and aren't really scorers who can take over a game. And of course, when it comes to Ben Simmons, well, we all know that story. But there's one guy who can most certainly give them a boost offensively, and that's TJ Warren. But unfortunately, he's extremely injury prone and he's even nursing a foot injury right now, and it's still unclear when he'll be available. So now we have a decent understanding of why their offense is bad. They simply have no other scorers on the roster other than KD. For three-point shooting, while they're not terrible, they definitely aren't elite and are ranked 14th in three-point percentage. For offensive rebounds, which is one of the most underrated stats in the NBA, they rank 25th in that department. And when you can't score, shoot, or grab offensive boards, it's going to be pretty hard to consistently win ball games. On defense, it gets even worse. Other than Royce O'Neal and Nick Claxton and maybe Markieff Morris, nobody plays good defense consistently. They're ranked 21st in team defensive rating, and when watching them play, it's not hard to see why. Kevin Durant sort of goes through the motions defensively, and although he's never been known as a great defender, he was known as a solid one during his time in Golden State. Kyrie's defense has never really been on his mind, so it's not really a surprise to anyone that he doesn't play defense at a high level. But let's take a look at the guy whose individual defense was supposed to make the Nets defense one of the best immediately, Ben Simmons. For the past couple of seasons, Ben Simmons was one of the best defenders in the NBA and even made 2 all-defensive first teams. There's even a chance he was the best defender in the entire NBA his last year with the 76ers. But that isn't the story right now. And yes, he's coming off a back injury, but given his limitations offensively, the Nets need Simmons playing like an elite defender. Because otherwise, he's pretty useless if we're being honest. Now, he does show flashes of elite defense, but it's nowhere near where he needs to be. Because remember, this guy was known as one of the best defensive players in the NBA, and he terrorized opponents. But now, he just seems like another dude. As for Nick Claxton, their 6'11" center, he's a pretty solid overall defender and the team's best rim protector by far. But he's not experienced or strong enough to contain bigger centers and power forwards. To his credit, though, he definitely tries. And the further you go down the roster, the more you realize why their defense is lackluster, to put it nicely. This is exactly why KD shouldn't have ever left the Golden State Warriors. On the offensive end, scoring the basketball was never the problem. In KD's first year in 2016, Steph averaged 25 points, Klay averaged 22, and then KD averaged 25. Kevin Durant never felt like he needed to carry the team and drop 30 points every game. Truth be told, he could have just averaged 18 points and nothing would have changed. Except for maybe Curry would have averaged 30 and Klay would have averaged 25. But see, when you have more than one player that can score at an elite level, it makes the offense run so much more smoothly. The Nets' 2 scoring options are Kyrie and Simmons, which isn't reliable and the other doesn't score. That's just one of the 1 million differences the old Warriors and current Nets have. But let's talk about what separated the Warriors from every other team: ball movement. The Warriors arguably utilize ball movement better than any other team in the NBA. And in KD's first year, they really showed it. They were number 1 in assists, averaging 30 assists per game, which cleared the number 2 spot by a whopping 5 assists. Currently, in 2022, the Nets are ranked 12th in assists, and the Warriors are still leading so far. So first in assists versus 12th in assists is kind of a big difference, especially given the fact that the Nets will most likely drop down further as the season progresses. When it comes to three-point shooting, the Warriors are clearly better. The Warriors ranked 3rd in three-point percentage. They even had 7 players shoot over 37%. The Brooklyn Nets are currently ranked 14th in three-point shooting, but that number is actually a little misleading because they also don't take many threes compared to the rest of the NBA and are ranked 23rd in attempts per game. When it came to defense, the 2016 Warriors had arguably the best defense in the entire league and finished second in team defensive rating. For starters, they have Draymond Green, who was one of, if not the best defender in the league, and he orchestrated their defense better than anyone. Klay Thompson was in the same conversation as Kawhi and Paul George when it came to defense for guards and wings. He was the Warriors' primary defensive stopper, and given the fact that he was scoring 22 a night on the offensive end while also locking down the best guys on the defense was incredible. And of course, we can't forget Iggy, who is known as the LeBron stopper. He was the Warriors' second primary lockdown defender. Kevin Durant was playing his best defense of his entire career, which is no surprise because Golden State is known to bring out the best in all of their players. And when we say he was playing the best defense of his career, we mean it. He was one of the Warriors' best rim protectors and one of the most versatile defenders on the roster other than Iggy, Green, and Thompson. The same can't be said for this Nets version of KD. Durant's defense in Brooklyn is almost non-existent for most games. All of this adds up to a pretty clear conclusion. KD should have never left the Bay. Not only did he have the two greatest shooters of all time on offense, but he had some of the greatest defenders in Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. He was loaded with talent on both sides of the ball, and he had a genius head coach and an extraordinary culture that didn't tolerate drama. Could you honestly imagine any of this Kyrie or Simmons drama occurring in Golden State? No, of course not. And as of now, the Brooklyn Nets are 12th in the conference and recently got absolutely destroyed by the Sacramento Kings, with the score being 153 to 121. Yes, you heard that right. And to make matters worse, this was in regulation time. There was no OT. And if it wasn't for Edmund Sumner and KD going perfect from the free throw line, the final score could have been much worse. The Kings shot almost 60% from the floor and shot 48% from three, further proving how bad the Nets defense really is. And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, we were wrong. KD recently disrespected his teammates in a major way after the horrible loss to Sacramento. KD said, quote, "Look at our starting lineup. Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, and me. It's not disrespect, but what are you expecting from that group?" Ouch. KD went on to say, quote, "You expect us to win because I'm out there. So if you're watching from that lens, you're expecting us to play well because number 7 is out there." That will definitely further ruin the team chemistry. That's for sure. Comments like these are exactly why KD's days might be numbered in Brooklyn. But the thing is, we don't think many teams would trade for him, even though he's still clearly one of the best players in the league. A majority of the teams in the NBA are just too good or have a bright future, so bringing in Kevin Durant may do more harm than good. One trade destination that started to pick up buzz was the Portland Trail Blazers, but realistically the Nets would have to ask for Anthony Simmons, Gary Payton II, and Shadon Sharpe in return, and that's just at a minimum. They would most likely ask for much more, and rightfully so. But see, that's the problem. We don't think there's one team out there that could trade for Durant without totally destroying their roster in the process. When roster depth is the key to winning titles in today's NBA, that's obviously not the best thing to do. But what do you think? Do you think leaving the Warriors was the single worst decision KD has ever made? And do you see the Brooklyn Nets trading the Slim Reaper? If so, where's the best place he could end up? Did you enjoy this video? If so, hit the like button and subscribe to NBA Swish for more amazing NBA content just like this. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.